As you might know, if you've seen this before, this is a pitch challenge like Shark Tank presented by the Mural Foundation in partnership with the St. Bernard Economic Development Foundation. We're so lucky to have them as our wonderful presenters, but this is more than just a Shark Tank presentation. This is a celebration of what is happening in St. Bernard. This is a celebration of resiliency, of development, and of a future unbounded, ladies and gentlemen, and it happens every single year. In fact, I remember the first time I hosted this 6 years ago, and the award package was worth an estimated $40,000. This year, it's $101,000 and $140. That's right. 550, yeah, applaud that. That's a lot of cash. And it shows how much has changed in just a short time. The development, the rebuilding of this parish. Think about what this parish looked like 16 years ago. And what we have to do is thank the people here today and the people of St. Bernard for making what it is today. So, are you ready? Are you ready to get started with the pitches? Let's give their attention. Each entrepreneur has 10 minutes to give their pitch. And then they will have 10 minutes to answer all the questions from the judges. So judges, you only got 10 minutes to get all those questions out. But let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out our first entrepreneur. Nice plants, good pots. Ladies and gentlemen, nice plants, good pots.
Hey everybody. Does anyone here have a house plant? All right. You know, for the past 12,000 years, humans have surrounded themselves and their settlements with ornamental plants. Humans have evolved with a deep curiosity and love for plants and trees, feeling the need to be close to them. This human urge to affiliate with other life forms is the hypothesis of biophilia, an idea popularized by entomologist Edmund Wilson. Our long-held connection with plants has enabled us to understand and harness their nutritional, medicinal, and aesthetic benefits. Plants provide us shelter through building materials. They produce all of the oxygen we breathe, and directly or indirectly, everything we eat. Plants and humans have a mutualistic relationship. We always have, and we always will. Being in close proximity to nature and greenery directly increase levels of oxytocin. Oxytocin is released into the bloodstream in response to love and labor. It plays a role in social bonding and is vital in childbirth, providing emotional benefits such as increasing pleasure and decreasing anxiety and stress. But these benefits go way beyond foliage in the house. Plant-filled offices have been proven to increase productivity and decrease worker stress. Plant-filled classrooms have been proven to increase creativity. And plants in the hospital have been proven to help mental health as well as assist in physical recovery. So plants not only improve people's homes, offices, and environments, but also their general mental health and well-being. There is a great enjoyment that comes from caring for and watching a plant grow, especially when this enjoyment can be shared with other plant enthusiasts. Particularly in the last year, during global COVID lockdowns and social distancing, many humans realized the immense benefits of living with plants, caring for them, and bringing the outside inside, being able to learn and share plants with others. This caused a chain reaction, injecting new life into the worldwide plant community. This is a photo from the 2019 International Aroid Society at the Fairchild Botanical Gardens in Miami, Florida. This was a record-breaking event that had thousands of people participate. I'm a third-generation farmer. My family grew apples, and although they parted ways and sold the family farm, I'm fortunate that my father continued gardening and I grew up with a vibrant vegetable and flower garden. I never would have imagined to find my way back into agriculture through tropical plants of all things.
Just like Joe, I have grown up surrounded by plants since I was a young child here in St. Bernard. Both my parents and grandparents were avid gardeners, and I've been involved in plant societies since college, collecting, sharing plants. But just like our passion for plants has continued to grow, so has our business. In the past 2.5 years, we have grown as much as physically possible, which brings us to the biggest problem we currently face, and that is space. Not that space, physical space. So over the past year, the number of plants we have grown, as well as our business, has doubled. Our total revenue has gone from $120,000 a year to estimated $250,000 to $300,000 by the end of this year. We mainly operate our nursery as an online nursery, selling tropical plants, cactuses, and succulents on Etsy, Facebook, and Instagram. We pack and ship these plants and then sell them, and then send them to enthusiasts and collectors across the country. This is just a slide demonstrating some Facebook groups we use to sell plants. They have tens of thousands of members. We use our Etsy. We use Instagram. These are all important tools that we use in the current market, digital market, to interact with customers, interact with clients, answer questions, create a community. Currently, we are renting office space and greenhouse space in Araby at a business called Breathing Waters, which is a shared co-working space and urban farm. We have completely filled up 2 large greenhouses and have nowhere else to expand to. In order to continue to grow, we need to find a larger space. So this is just a slide kind of demonstrating over the past 2 years where we've started off with just a modest, small amount of plants that we have been growing and collecting, to now where the whole greenhouse is pretty much packed with lots of cool stuff. So right now, we get daily requests from local and regional customers that want to come visit our nursery, but unfortunately, we're only able to operate as appointment only because we don't have any separate space to sell plants versus the plants that we're propagating or growing. So that kind of hinders us a little bit. So in order to solve this, we are looking to expand our operation to have regular retail hours, be able to host events, to drive in more local business, as well as have a nursery that's like a destination for people that are traveling in town, or sort of like ecotourism. So right now, as a lifelong resident of St. Bernard and someone who owns 2 small businesses here, this is the place we want our business to stay and grow. We are currently in the process of finding commercial property in Araby that has space for more greenhouses, retail storefront, and educational and entertainment events.
Our business model is easily scalable, eco-friendly, and financially sustainable. By finding a larger space, the 2 new markets we can grow and expand into are retail and wholesale. By entering these markets, we'll be able to generate more income, hire employees, and drive more business into St. Bernard Parish. Right now, we run all day-to-day operations ourselves with some part-time help to pack and ship plants. We're aiming to double our total revenue again in 2022 through expanding and hiring at least 2 full-time employees. We run our business in the most sustainable and eco-friendly way possible by collecting rainwater for irrigation, recycling and reusing plastic nursery pots, and using recycled, renewable, and biodegradable materials for shipping. There are very few moving parts to our business. The plant nursery is a simple, tried and true business model that has been around for centuries. However, we have expanded on this model by importing, hybridizing, and propagating plants that are not readily available in the USA. Unlike the majority of other nurseries who purchase plants from Florida or overseas only to quickly resell, we've invested nearly all of our profits from our first year back into accumulating a collection of mother stock that we could hybridize, breed, and propagate and resell at nearly 100% profit minus the cost of labor and materials. We found this gives us a competitive advantage and financial security compared to other nurseries who completely rely on wholesale. This helps insulate us from market inflation and volatility, allowing us room to predict and forecast market trends for upcoming seasons.
So currently, our biggest expenses are labor, rent, and inventory, which equate to around roughly $130,000 per year. Our projected 2021 revenue will be right around $250,000 to $290,000, with a gross profit of close to $160,000. This is compared to a total revenue of $120,000 for 2020. So as we continue to grow, our profit margins will grow as well, and this is through expanding our business operations into the retail and wholesale markets. After expanding into the retail and wholesale market by purchasing property, building out retail space, and hiring more employees, we estimate our expenses will be right around $470,000 for the year, and a total revenue of close to $500,000. We have proven to be independently successful and been able to operate debt-free for the past 2.5 years. So we're here asking for an investment of $50,000 towards growing our small business. We'll use the funds to expand our online presence and enter new markets. This investment will ensure that we have enough working capital to do so. We have already cleared the biggest hurdle of establishing our business through a pandemic and in St. Bernard Parish, and we're dedicated to staying in and improving it. We want to drive in more consumer traffic, increase awareness that St. Bernard is ripe for new business opportunities. Our goal is to create a retail space full of rare and special plants with plenty of options for new plant lovers. We want a space that is as much of a private garden experience as it is a retail nursery. We want to curate a space that's like a botanical garden, but it's open to the public. So please invest and grow with us.
Great job. The question I have is, you talked about retail, you talked about wholesale, you talked about expanding your online presence. My guess is the profit for each, when you sell in those different places, varies. Can you talk to me a little bit about why you would want to go into a retail space? Because my inclination is that I would stay online, charge a premium, and kill it, and maybe do some wholesale. But talk to me why you would do that.
Basically, there's a lot of local plant collectors. Our kind of environment's ripe for these type of plants, so there's a lot of people that are buying these plants online. So if we have the space available to grow the plants, all we have to do is set aside, so that way, say, hey, on the weekend, come by, we have a plant sale, and then it's just kind of extra money, another revenue stream that we don't really have to work for. We're not trying to stay open 7 days a week, mostly just having the space available to be able to grow into that and be able to have a local community, so we don't miss out on these sales that other nurseries are getting in our area.
I actually second that. That was part of my question, but I'll move to the other question. I'm probably one of your target customers. You mentioned in your business plan about it being women primarily, certainly kind of the 20 to 40 some odd age. My question was, what plans are there around follow-up types of services? Obviously, once someone gets a plant, have you thought through a pipeline of services to retain those customers? If they're not buying more plants, then are you always searching for the next one?
Right now, we have a lot of customer engagement through Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So we keep a lot of return customers and keep up to date. People update us and send us pictures of their plants and things like that. So we kind of have created an online community over various social media platforms that have enabled us to stay in touch and get that repeat business from people and being able to check up. And we post there, they'll send us updates on Instagram, and then we'll post it to our Instagram so other people can follow and share them. And so that's kind of how we have been approaching that update with people.
Hi. So very impressive revenue growth, and I don't know much about the rare and special plants industry, but I'm really interested in knowing who your competitors are in this space. And you talked about propagating these special plants you can't get anywhere else. Do you all have special skills to do that other people don't know how to do? And what really makes you stand out? And then also back to kind of the online question, where are most of your customers from?
Okay, so yes, I guess growing these plants do require a special skill, a special greenhouse. That's why they charge a premium. They're not just like able to stick it in the ground and come back and they survive. You know, they.
And typically, how much do you sell your plants for? Like a plant like this, is this like $100?
No, so that's like a plant that'll cost us around $5 to produce and sell 10 to 15 wholesale versus 20 to 30 retail. So there are a lot more plants that grow a lot slower or harder to get that we do charge, you know, $100 to $200, $300 for. But our average order, I guess, is around $100, and that's not just one plant; it's multiple plants. So this year we're approaching we have about 1,600 orders so far, and our average order per customer is around $100 to $120 per order.
And where are most of your customers? Are they just all over the country?
Most of our customers are California, East Coast, Connecticut, New York, Chicago, a lot of major big city hubs, I guess, Seattle, pretty much, but it also all over the whole entire country, Puerto Rico, Guam, Hawaii, you know, covers the whole spectrum, but those are the kind of hot spots where a lot of our customers are from, just maybe because they have the largest population. I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, one last question. So your local collectors, do you have an idea of what that revenue might be and how many orders you might get if you did open a retail store?
Yeah, so locally, whenever we'll do some pop-ups at different events or kind of art markets or friends' stores or garden shows, and usually those will generate between like $1,000 to $3,000 a day in sales. So it's usually pretty profitable for us to be open in a retail environment.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So impressive sales growth, definitely. So that was really, really cool to see. And I love the fact that you've really found a niche that not only plays to your strengths, but that plays to your environmental characteristics. One thing I was a little bit concerned about that I hope you can clarify, when it comes to your revenue and cost statements, I didn't see employment or I didn't hear employment mentioned in what you said. Are you guys paying yourselves right now? And how is that going to impact you in the future? Because y'all got to make a living.
Yeah, of course. Right now, we pay ourselves $15 to $20 an hour, and then we are putting most of our money back into our business to be able to purchase property. As you know, commercial real estate takes a large chunk of change down, so we've been slowly paying ourselves more and more as we've been making more money and have a larger, bank account to be able to do that, and also be able to stay liquid to be able to purchase inventory, property, all the other things that kind of come along with a business, or any unforeseen accidents, hurricanes, things like that. So we are paying ourselves. We hope to continue to keep paying ourselves.
You should keep paying yourselves.
More, yeah.
You can only eat ramen noodles for so long.
Yeah, we're good. So we both started this company working other jobs. I work in the neuromedical field and a background in engineering. Joe has a background in art design. So we started off, small, and then kind of transitioned out of our full-time jobs into this job. And as it's been able to pay us more, we've been able to focus more on this.
Hey, thank you. Very nice job, guys. Thank you for educating us on this. We are that family. We bought lots of plants during the pandemic. We have 2 lemon trees that we like more than anyone should like a lemon tree, so I'm with you, I get that.
Yeah, we all love plants.
So I've got 2 questions. One is a bigger picture and one is more tactical. What is the vision? Like, what's the dream? What are we building?
So our dream is to build, like we were saying, a garden experience or nursery experience. To you walk in, imagine to a nursery that's full of tropical plants. It's like a jungle. You have lots of things you've never seen before: textures, colors, shapes, smells, sights, sounds. So the greenhouses are full. They're lush. You walk in, it's like a botanical garden. These things that you don't just see anywhere, but maybe on the internet. So this is what we're trying. That's what our greenhouse looks like right now, but it's not really able to host people. It's not small. It's crammed full of stuff. So our goal is to have this space where people can come, they can socialize, we can host different plant societies, we can have meetings and educational talks about plants, how to care for plants, propagate them. Just a nice space for other plant people to meet each other. It's kind of not the best time for that. That's why we've been focusing on mostly online. When we started this was before the pandemic, and that was kind of the goal, and then we kind of went straight to online. And then what was your last question?
That's more of a customer experience. You're looking to create a customer experience that's somewhat unique. I'm curious about 10 years from now. What does this look like?
Well, part of it, I hope that we could create our own hybrids over the next 5 to 10 years and add new species into the world. Also work with vulnerable populations of plants that are being poached or in high demand because of commercial markets. And use other sciences like tissue culture to increase populations of plants that are in danger.
Thank you. One more question, and that's about org structure. You're talking about the two of you, I agree with about getting paid. There's only so much you can do when you double or triple your space, right? So what does the structure look like? Who do you need to hire?
Basically, we need to hire people that have a skill set that can take care of plants, people to pot things, to cut things. Nothing too, specialized, but things that we can teach people. So mostly just labor. Packing plants takes a lot of labor. So that's mostly what we need help with is physical labor. So just bodies to be there to help us propagate, move things around, and pot things up, stuff like that. General nursery work, watering, pest control. You're welcome.
Thank you, judges, for your questions, and more importantly, thank you, nice plants, good pots, for your answers and presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could hear a round of applause for nice plants, good pots. And well done, judges. 10 minutes on the nose. Very impressed. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, if we could welcome in person and online, glass half full. Ladies and gentlemen, glass half full.
Well, it was a typical Thursday night in college. Our assignments were mostly done when Max and I opened up our usual bottle of admittedly mediocre wine. When instead of relaxing, we pondered the destiny of that bottle. How many bottles of wine or beer had we sent to our landfills? How many bottles of wine or beer are sent to our landfills every single year? It turns out that in America, every year at least 28 billion glass bottles and jars are sent to our landfills.
And on top of this already seemingly insurmountable problem, we discovered that Louisiana currently ranks 50th in the country for sustainability and for the amount of waste that's recycled. Yes, you heard that correctly, dead last. According to the most recent report for recycling in Louisiana, it found that a mere 5% of all waste generated in the state is recycled. And of that 5%, just 2% of it is glass. This means that just 0.6% of all glass waste generated in Louisiana is recycled.
Now, where some may see an intractable problem, we sensed an opportunity. Where some may have seen the glass half empty, we saw the glass half full.
What if we could divert glass from our landfills and turn it into a resource for our communities and our coast?
It turns out that by the support of beautiful people like yourselves, we absolutely can.
At Glass Half Full, we're reimagining recycling as an inclusive movement to build community and benefit our planet. We recycle New Orleans' glass into beach-like sand and gravel used for disaster relief, eco-construction, new glass products, and eventually, coastal restoration.
Now, here in St. Bernard Parish, there are currently 0 options for residents or businesses to recycle their glass, and 0 options for any curbside recycling. This means that all of the waste created in this parish ends up in a landfill. Specifically, waste from St. Bernard Parish ends up in the River Birch landfill. Now, it's not a new argument that landfills are bad for the environment. it's well known that even a landfill that complies with every EPA law and regulation will, by the nature of its design, emit harmful gases and leachate into the water, soil, and air. It is also well known that living near a landfill has detrimental health effects, including but not limited to cancer, respiratory diseases, birth defects, and total mortality. Now, environmental racism plays a huge role when looking at landfill locations nationwide and right here in the greater New Orleans region. According to the US Census, in the specific area surrounding that River Birch landfill, 100% of residents are Black. Simply put, this parish is dooming all of its waste to a landfill that will negatively impact Black Louisianians for decades.
At Glass Half Full, we do four main things: divert waste from landfills, turn it into a resource for our communities, combat environmental racism, and create high-quality green jobs in our local economy. So one, diverting waste. We accomplish this through a free community drop-off that's open 3 days a week and accessible to all Louisianians, as well as a door-to-door pickup service for residents and businesses. Altogether, we collect upwards of 100,000 pounds of glass every month from thousands of recyclers.
Number two, we convert that glass into a resource that benefits the community actually recycling it. So once that glass reaches our warehouse, we crush it up into sand and cullet, which can be used to solve a host of challenges, from disaster relief to eco-construction to research for coastal restoration and even Mardi Gras beads.
Three, we're committed to combating environmental racism head-on. We accomplish this by decreasing landfill waste, educating residents on the importance of recycling, increasing access to recycling and to disaster relief materials like sandbags, and through strategic partnerships with community organizations.
Four, we are dedicated to creating high-quality, living wage jobs that provide an on-ramp to the green economy. Working for us requires no experience or college degree, and our employees are able to learn transferable skills like forklift and skid steer operation, driving box trucks and towing trailers, and operating other heavy machinery. We started this in a backyard in late January of 2020. By August of that year, we had moved into a 40,000 square foot warehouse. Over the past 8 months, we launched a residential glass pickup program, which now services over 800 homes. We launched a business pickup program, which services 12 businesses, and we hired 6 employees. To date, we have diverted over 1 million pounds of glass from our landfills.
To jumpstart our short-term goals, we crowdfunded over $100,000 from the community. But our ultimate goal was always to ensure that glass recycling in Louisiana was a long-term success. So in October of 2020, we began introducing a revenue-generating subscription model for our residential pickup program. We grew that program 65% month over month, and by March of 2021, we became cash sustainable. We project that these subscriptions alone will enable us to expand and grow our business sustainably, all the while providing free community drop-offs that are accessible to all Louisianians.
Simply put, we are growing through earned revenue in a manner that will allow the impact and reach of Glass Half Full to steadily expand. Now, with St. Bernard Parish's current absence of recycling, high rates of coastal flooding and land loss, we see an opportunity to turn wine into a resource for this parish.
By winning this competition, we would be able to expand into St. Bernard Parish with residential and commercial pickup service, as well as a community drop-off hub that's available to all residents free of charge. Through these programs, we will divert hundreds of thousands of pounds of glass from our landfills and create high-quality green jobs in this local economy. Our new hires start at a living wage of at least $15 per hour, more than double the minimum wage and already in line with the St. Bernard Parish median income. Over 2 years, we will divert over 500,000 pounds of glass from our landfills, slowing the rate at which these landfills fill up and saving the parish tens of thousands of dollars in tipping fees alone. Once that glass is transformed into sand and gravel, we'll use it to fill disaster relief sandbags for this parish, research ways in which we can restore land in this parish, and even melt it down and create sustainable Mardi Gras throws.
Now, we've already proven that this model works in Orleans Parish. We have succeeded without any government support or contracts. But by winning this competition, we will be able to shift our focus towards making glass recycling a possibility in this parish. We will use the money to invest in machinery that will allow us to process all of the glass we receive and immediately create a new high-quality living wage job, with plans to add more job opportunities as we grow within the parish.
We know that the citizens of St. Bernard Parish are eager to move towards a more sustainable future. In preparing for this pitch, we met with Lisa, who was born, raised, and proudly resides in St. Bernard Parish. She said, "I think this would be a great addition to our parish, especially since we have no type of recycling. And what y'all do with the glass benefits our community, so how could anyone have an issue with that? Love what y'all are doing, keep it up."
We also already work with Pete from Big Easy Blasting, a family-owned sandblasting company that calls Araby home. They used our recycled glass product as a safer and greener alternative to traditional sandblasting media, and the best part, it's all local.
Despite a global pandemic and limited funding, Glass Half Full transformed a system that lacked accountability into a transparent process that benefits the people actually doing the recycling. No longer obscure and out of reach, our work is something you can see, touch, and feel. Recyclers see the fruits of their recycling every time they drop their glass off with us. This newfound transparency makes people question their consumption habits and imagine the ways in which our broader recycling systems must change.
Glass takes 1 million years to decompose. This means that countless generations to come after us will be left to deal with the glass that we threw out last week. So why should we doom this resource to a landfill where it will take up crucial space and do more harm to our environment? Instead, join us in diverting that glass from our landfills, creating jobs to turn it into a resource, and using that resource to benefit our community. Let's turn that glass into sandbags to protect us from the next storm, miles of coastline, or even Mardi Gras beads. The possibilities are truly endless. So if you remember nothing else from this pitch tonight, remember this: nothing can be recycled if you don't give people the opportunity to recycle it.
Now, tonight we'll probably open another bottle of admittedly mediocre wine, but win or lose, at least it's guilt-free. So drink up St. Bernard. Let's show the world we can be a leader in sustainability and put this parish on the right side of environmental history.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, glass half full. Can I grab this one? We're going to start over here with the questions with Kevin. Kevin, you'll be first judge.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Really, it's all about the narrative, and that narrative was just memorable and impactful. The question I would have is more about who does this right. So we're 50th in Louisiana. Are you modeling this after number one? And who is number one? Who's doing this?
That's a great question. I love that question. So basically the places that are doing it right currently are using a system that takes a large investment, government being on board with it, government funding, and that's generally done through bottle bills. So it's done through policy and bottle bills, which mean that you get 10 cents if you return a bottle. And there are facilities run by the government that can sort that glass and process it. We believe this is why it hasn't worked before in Louisiana and why no municipality in Louisiana recycles glass. So we decided to do it a different way, more privatized, with less funding, but with community buy-in and community support.
What's the biggest risk? Is there, like, it's big machinery, can people hurt themselves, or is there a lot of insurance involved in this?
We definitely have a big insurance policy just to keep everything safe, but yeah, I guess an investment in the actual machinery. The machinery is very expensive, especially when you're dealing with the amount of glass that New Orleans and Louisiana produces. There's a lot of it, so I'd say that's probably the biggest risk.
Really, very well done on the pitch. Nice job. I have two unrelated questions. One is just a technical question with regard to the use of, obviously sand is largely silica, natural sand is largely silica, so is glass, but obviously other things are added to glass. Any concerns about the long-term environmental effects of using sand derived from glass in natural context? Sandblasting, I get it, that's fabulous. But when you're talking about the ecological restoration, any long-term concerns there? And then I have one other super quick one.
Of course. No, that's a great question. You're right. Glass sand is just about 100% silica. We're doing a lot of research before jumping into this coastal restoration thing. We actually got an email today that we've been moved forward for an NSF grant.
Oh, cool.
That would be a year-long grant to study the effects of the glass sand on specifically Louisiana coastal plants, because this has already been done in Florida and California, but of course our environment is different, and would also hopefully include restoring part of the Pointe-aux-Chênes sacred burial grounds so that's exciting. But yes, tons of research.
Okay, so that's still the fact that you're able to pursue an NSF grant for that is pretty cool. Second question is a little more focused on the business model. So the idea that people are subscribing to have somebody pick up their glass when previously they were just dumping it in their garbage can because apparently there is not recycling, and I didn't know that because I'm not from here. What's the how does that work as a business model? You're getting people to pay for something that they don't have to.
I think that is one of the best parts of Glass Half Full, our secret sauce, if you will, is this community that we've built. We didn't talk about this, but we've garnered over 265,000 followers over social media. We've garnered a huge support from the New Orleans community. Max and I will be the first to tell you we didn't expect any of this. We didn't expect the community to buy in so much, but it was clear that the need was profound and that people were fed up with Louisiana always being last and not being able to recycle. I grew up without recycling, so it hits home. But yeah, I think people are finally ready to, if the government's not going to do it, then we'll do it ourselves. And people are finally ready to buy into that.
Great job. It's really exciting that this could potentially be a possibility for St. Bernard. Talk to me a little bit more about the financials. So you mentioned that potentially you could offer, by winning this competition, offer free pickup. How long with this, if you got this money, would you be able to offer that for?
So we will be offering paid pickups for residents and businesses who want to pay for the service, as well as a free community drop-off. So how that works is we choose a central location that many people are able to come to for free. We currently have one in the Desire area of New Orleans that's open 3 days a week. And that is really what we think generates that community support, that buy-in. We get to see recyclers face to face, and then the people who don't want to come can pay for pickup, and that's okay. And the way that the business model works is that we have the paid pickups, which support a huge part of our business, but we also make money on the back end when we sell products. So we make sand and glass gravel, which can be sold in the sandblasting industry, in construction, for terrazzo flooring, lots of possibilities. So we're able to make money on the front end and the back end in order to support these free drop-offs.
Got it. Can you talk a little bit more about the products that you're selling on the back end? And part of this is because I know there have been many efforts over the last decade, 2 decades, to start New Orleans cycling, or recycling in New Orleans, and a lot of them didn't work out because even though they had the paid pickup and they were trying to sell, it still didn't cover the cost of just manufacturing and doing this and like sorting. It was very expensive. So can you talk more about maybe how, like what you're currently doing in terms of selling? I heard the sandblasting, potential for the coastal. Yeah, if you can talk about that piece and how you might see that grow over time.
Yeah. So currently how we're making it work is that our business is buoyed just by pickups right now. But like you said, it could be dangerous to only rely on pickups, and so we are preparing for making more money on the back end. And the way we're going to do that is by understanding our costs, which are admittedly more than a dredging company getting sand from the river, and understanding which markets are able to pay a premium for glass sand because it's cleaner, it's safer, and it's greener than traditional sand. And those are markets like sandblasting, the concrete industry, and terrazzo flooring. So those are the markets we'll really target in order to be able to make a profit on the product.
And do you have contracts in all 3 markets currently?
We have them in 2 of 3, and then in the concrete industry, we're working on research with hopefully Schlumberger to accomplish that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Andrew asked several of my questions, so that's a good thing. Really excited about this. This is a great idea. I'm an engineer by training, and so I have some operations questions on that other side, because as you mentioned, much of the revenue potential is certainly on the pulverizing. Talk to me about that process. Where are you all in scoping and understanding what machinery you'll have, and also with coming into St. Bernard, what capacity will what you have now, at what point will you need to move on? Just give me some thoughts around that.
I'm an engineer too, so great to be connected. And thank you for asking that. So currently we have machines that just do the pulverizing and just do the sifting of the glass. And we have already upped our game, if you will, in the feeding of the glass. So before it was our employees dumping a large can into the hopper, and then we bought a skid steer. So now we can scoop up glass and dump it into the hopper. So we're constantly automating our processes to up that processing capacity. So we'll scoop that glass into a hopper, it'll be fed up and crushed, and then that'll go into a sifter, which will then sift it into the 5 different sizes that you see. So you have the smallest, and you have the largest size. And yeah, so it's all crushed into one mix of all of those sizes, and then we sift it. So it's a pretty simple crush and sift process. We don't see that changing unless we choose to, say, buy an optical sorter, which will then sort all of the colors individually, or buy a machine that will take all the caps off. Right now we're making all the recyclers do that. So the basic process is the same and will remain the same, but there are ways to improve upon it with investments into machinery.
Is that included in the use of these funds specifically, or?
Yes, so specifically with the use of these funds, we want to upgrade our sifting process. Right now it is, we have 1 sifter, but we have 2 crushers, so we can crush double the amount we can sift. So we'll add another sifter so that we can crush and sift seamlessly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I too am an engineer.
Woo!
We rock. I appreciate you guys' approach to the work. I use equity every day through every lens, every decision I make of who I hire, who I fire, who I work with, how I spend my money, where I locate my business. I appreciate that, and you guys should be applauded for thinking about that from the front end.
Thank you.
My question is kind of 2. On pickup and the revenue and what it costs you. So the subscription model, what do you get in, and then what does it cost you to pick up? And then the last piece is, how do you scale this thing up? We're talking about startups. How do you make this be huge?
Great question. Thanks for asking. Yeah, absolutely. To the margins point, it costs us right now about $15 a pickup per customer. We're charging $25. But how we scale that is getting more and more people in that specific neighborhood. So if our truck's out on a block and they're picking up one person's glass, that's going to be more expensive than if we start collecting their neighbors and then their neighbors, because we're going out to that location. So yeah, we find the easiest way to scale that is getting a lot of people in one centralized spot that we're able to collect from. Does that answer your question? Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, if we could welcome contestant number 3, St. Bernard EcoTourism.
Louisiana is in a coastal crisis. Before we leave this room today, a football field of wetlands will disappear into the Gulf of Mexico. St. Bernard Ecotourism is a tourism destination that offers guests the opportunity to explore our coast firsthand. One of our goals is to educate the youth on the importance of our wetlands. Louisiana is home to 40% of all the wetlands in the United States, experiences 90% of the coastal wetland loss in the 48 states. If Louisiana's coast disappears, so does most of America's wetlands and all of the biological and ecological diversity in it. So why are our wetlands so important? Every 2.7 miles of wetlands absorbs 1 foot of storm surge. Our wetlands are comparable to tropical rainforest and coral reefs in their productivity and biodiversity. Louisiana has the most productive fisheries in the continental 48 states, generating $3 billion annually. And known as Sportsman's Paradise for a reason, with recreational fishing generates $2.6 million annually. So what else is in our backyard? Battery Bienvenue was built after the War of 1812 on the route the British used to invade New Orleans. And at NASA, deep space exploration equipment is produced. The Great Wall of Louisiana, a 2-mile, $1.3 billion structure designed to hold back 44 million gallons of water. Well, I'm not from here, but my love for St. Bernard has me worried about our coast and its future. It wasn't always my passion to own a marina and an ecotour business. In fact, it wasn't until recently that I was convinced that we could make a difference. You may just see this as a tourism company, just a tour. But to me, I've seen firsthand how we can make a difference. In our company, we educate, we inspire, and we entertain. Education just doesn't have to happen in a classroom. In fact, every year I ask the children what they want to be when they grow up. After taking our tour, I hope to hear,
"We want to save our coast."
They want to save the coast. I want the solution to our coastal crisis to not only visit our business, but to become part of our family. I've seen children come fish with a beloved family member for the first time. I've seen a father and a son take a boat ride and talk about life. I've seen a little girl look into the water and see a crab. I hope that she looks at those colors and makes a jewelry piece one day. I hope after seeing our beautiful sunset that they will create a beautiful painting. The Parish Marina is not just a learning tool, but we hope to treat you about the life.
Imagine being able to make a living doing something you love, something your customers love, and doing something good for the community you love. That's our vision at St. Bernard Ecotourism. My name is Monty Montalongo, and I was born and raised in Delacroix Island, a small fishing community in eastern St. Bernard, where almost everyone make their living in the marshes and bayous. Our way of life here is unique to most people, but every day was life for us. I made my living on the water serving the oil and gas industry in St. Bernard and Plaquemines Parish. I ran for public office in 2011 and served 8 years as a councilman in District E. While in office, the council, administration, and community partners were able to build the Delacroix Island Shipyard and Pier. Shortly after the ribbon cutting, we held the first St. Bernard Seafood Market. During this market, we provided free airboat rides to anyone wishing to ride. This turned out to be amazing. We gave over 300 people rides in 4 hours. The people loved it, and we did too. That's where the idea came from, and the wheels started turning. We decided to open our business and secured a long-term lease on Bayou Bienvenue from the St. Bernard Parish Port. We built boat docks, 15 boat storage sheds, purchased a 27-passenger pontoon boat, and built a brand-new 18-passenger airboat. While we were doing all this, COVID reared its ugly head, and tourism in New Orleans came to a screeching halt. Then in October, Hurricane Zeta blew in, flooded our marina, and destroyed the back wall of our building. Boat ramp issues prompted us to stop launching boats. But like most people in St. Bernard, we are very resilient people. We cleaned up our marina, replaced our back wall, and repaired our boat ramp. You see, failure is just not an option for us. We've since had many successful events, tours, parties, and celebrations. The future is looking bright at St. Bernard EcoTourism. Our journey so far has shown our diversity, stability, and resiliency. Here's a glimpse into that journey.
Believe it or not, a lot of people from down here have never ridden an airboat. You know, it's you know, most people have rode on boats before, but not airboats. You know, it's a whole different thing. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A whole lot of fun.
Well, I can't wait. Take us out.
Okay, let's go.
This boat tour, Cajun Christmas traditions come to life on Bayou Bienvenue in St. Bernard Parish. It even spots some wildlife along the way.
There's something so unique about St. Bernard Parish, and we just want to spread that joy to our locals and our tourists alike.
All right, I'm thankful to be here today. First and foremost, I'll get to the nuts and bolts of it. Our management team, our partners, Manuel and Anna Montalongo, I also like to call them Mom and Dad. Dad's a 15-year retired business owner, and Mom's retired of a lifelong service to the St. Bernard Parish school system, just like her parents. My loving wife of 11 years, Sherry, who is as passionate about other people's children as she is her own. She's an educator since 2014 and jumped in with both feet into our family business. Captain Ronnie Adams has been with us since conception, and during construction, Ronnie and Dad went through U.S. Coast Guard Captain School together, two peas in a pod. Captain Roy Lally joined us since in the Christmas season and shares his passion of the marsh and teaching others. And I'm thrilled to have my godchild and her boyfriend, Raina Oggs and David Myers. They're both recent graduates of Chalmette High School and very active in the Chalmette Performing Arts Theater, and they volunteer quite a bit with them. A little about myself. I spent the last 14 Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street, not as a participant, but as responsible for the safety and security of the tourist as a Louisiana State Trooper. So I've seen the direct effects of tourism on an economy, and I've seen the importance to the state of Louisiana directly. Let's talk about the tourism market. So tourism is responsible for 7% of all jobs in Louisiana and generated $22.5 billion in business sales and $1.8 billion in state and local taxes. $5.35 billion of those tourism dollars were spent directly in New Orleans, while St. Bernard only saw $66 million of those dollars. Our goal is to draw more of those tourism dollars to St. Bernard Parish. Our location is right on Parish Road. It's the corridor of St. Bernard Parish. And our backyard is full of wetlands, right? We have 6,000 acres of private marshlands that we have access to. We're a short distance from other attractions within St. Bernard Parish, including the Chalmette Battlefield, the National Cemetery, the Jackson Barracks, the Islanius Museum and Village, and the Old Araby Sugar Museum, and many others. Our business complements the Parish Road Corridor Streetscape Enhancement Project, which includes a potential welcome center less than a quarter of a mile away. Louisiana DOTD did a traffic study in 2021. 26,000 vehicles pass our location every day. We've identified 3 critical success factors to our business. The foundation of our eco-tour, of course, is the wetlands that surround us. We work with local biologists and wildlife enthusiasts to keep our tours consistent and educational. With anything else, promotional and marketing is very important. Our website, social media platforms, and Google Ads are what we're using right now. We also work with destination managers like Great Delta Tours to attract more customers to our business. Our quality of tours and hospitality is what is going to set us apart from our competitors. We've seen positive reviews both online and by word of mouth. This is how committed we are to St. Bernard Parish. We've invested on our initial investment nearly $300,000 on our boat sheds, dock repairs, our building, our barges, and fill and gravel. We've purchased 2 boats, the 27-passenger catamaran and a 550-horsepower 18-passenger airboat, over $150,000, and all of our construction is done by local contractors here in St. Bernard. Our employment opportunities within St. Bernard, of course, we need boat captains, tour guides, and event staff and management, with the opportunities for both full-time and seasonal employment. Our revenue, we've learned, just like everyone else in the last 2 years, that you got to be diverse. So we have several different sources, which includes the boat sheds, the dry storage rental, our wet slips and dock rental, airboat and our pontoon boat tours, a seafood market, the marina, bait and tackle, events hosted with live bands and music. We have a venue rental, and then with a future ability to have a restaurant and lounge. Our growth plan includes satellite locations throughout St. Bernard where you can visit different locations on a boat here. Also, we're working with Southern Way Charters for overnight accommodations and lodging with that 140-foot tour boat. And we'll also continue to create innovative ways to host events, including the Cajun Christmas tours, Spooky Swamp tours, our seafood sunset cruise, stand-up comedy tours, and open mic nights, just to sustain. So with your help and your investment, we'd like to offer the opportunity for every 5th grader in St. Bernard Parish to take an eco-tour in their own backyard. In addition, we'll be able to complete the renovations on our facility and be able to sustain potentially another COVID crisis. So help us become as famous as Rocky and Carlos mac and cheese, as iconic as the Grove of Trees, and as legendary as the Islanios. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, St. Bernard Eco Tour, and we will start with Alan with the first judge's question.
Yes, sir. I keep my boat down here, so I do enjoy fishing all throughout St. Bernard Parish, and I drive over to Delacroix from Shell Beach all the time. They got better fish over there. My question to you is, I see the investment. Talk a little bit about the financials. You know, top line, profitability, you have all the different lines. I've always wondered, what's the most profitable piece of a marina? Is it the sheds that I spend too much money on? Is it the slip that I spend too much money on? Like, tell me about the pieces of a marina and the profitable.
So the boat sheds are a good consistent source of income. We're able to keep up with the rent and keep the lights on with the boat sheds. The most profitable thing that we do is the airboat tours, and that's what our focus is. There's quite a bit of profit margin on the airboats and the pontoon boat as well. It's not quite as expensive to run a pontoon boat, and you could put a few more people on it. best revenue has been generated on the seafood market that we've held here recently. So I think with, in learning that, we're going to host one once a month, every first Saturday of the month, and, try to draw in that seafood market crowd who then come back for an airboat tour, pontoon boat tour, seasonal tour, or the live events that we have. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think you guys are an incredible example of what it means to really live your passion, and you're great, great evangelists for St. Bernard's. I appreciate that. I have two questions. First, especially on this side of COVID and what's gone on, what types of changes are you seeing to your customers? Are they from this area? Are they from other parts of the city, or excuse me, of the neighboring parishes? Help us to know a little bit about that.
So initially, when we were just getting started off, our foundation was built upon the St. Bernard residents. We didn't have any tourism at all, so we had to find a way to get people out of their own houses, and we did that with COVID mitigation in mind by selling family pod units on our pontoon boat for these tours. So we sustained through the Christmas season and through the winter months. We're now opening up and seeing more people from the New Orleans tourism market. They're starting to come in quite a bit more. And with this new transition here in the last month, I don't know where that's going to bring us, but our goal is to have something that our locals can enjoy locally, and we can teach them something about their backyard, but also to draw that tourism market from St. Bernard into St. Bernard Parish.
And my second question, if awarded the funds, where are you looking to divert it? Since you've shared with us your growth opportunity, but how are you looking to use that?
So we're going to, there's about 1,100 fifth graders in St. Bernard Parish, and we're going to offer the opportunity for every fifth grader to go on an eco tour and learn about what's in their backyard. Also, we're not quite finished renovations upstairs at the marina itself to finish that event venue and potentially a restaurant up top. So that's what we would look at investing into.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is a really, really exciting business, and it's great to see the diversification, and just kudos to you all for managing the COVID crisis, and all the hurricanes from the last 2 years. So I see a huge opportunity, especially with the seafood market, and there are just so many foodies around, and I think that, I don't know, one question I have is around, have you considered doing a public relations push? Because I think this really could attract a lot of national attention. From like the food and wine magazines, and they're always looking for new locations. So yeah, just wanted to know more about your marketing strategies and what kind of customer you've seen most excited about your tours, about the seafood market.
Believe it or not, a lot of the locals are really excited about our tours that we have here. And then with the seafood market, we host local commercial fishermen where they back their boat right up on our docks, and the general public comes and buys seafood directly from the fishermen. So we are open to any kind of vendors, plant sales or glass sales. We talk about it, and I think marketability, is the social media and open it up. I don't know what kind of internet or national market we'd have for it. We'd have to do some research and maybe hire somebody who can help us with the marketability of the seafood market. But from what we've seen so far, it's growing legs on its own.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So far.
Thank you.
There's a lot of risk associated with this, and I come from a family business personally, and I came from a family business that went belly up in the early 80s. So, that's not something that I know that as parents one goes into lightly. So talk to us a little bit about the risk, there's different kinds of risks. Talk to us a little bit about risk mitigation and how you're anticipating that when something happens in the future, how you can handle that for yourselves, for your employees, for your family.
So, like I mentioned, Mom and Dad are both retired.
They're easy then.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
Sherry's an educator by trade, and also have a full-time job with state police. So, you know, private source funding, I believe, is pretty stable. We're in it pretty deep. We can't fail. We don't think about it a whole lot. I think that being as diverse as we are, you know, we manage some of those risks just by finding what works for us. You know, we carry some pretty heavy insurance policies as far as, you know, managing other risks on as far as the properties and the boats and things like that. So I think, you know, that's our plan, is just being diverse and seeing what works and what it turns into at the end of the day.
This is great. And you had me when the youth were talking about saving the coast. Because it's so important that the youth understand what's going on here, right? So I really admired that, and you guys were great. My question is kind of to that point. What is your theory of impact? Like, what's the end game? I feel like this is a modality to get somewhere. Where are we going?
You know, I think that our biggest goal is to create environmental ambassadors, truly. And we want to, you know, we want to start with the youth and turn them into, you know, the people who really care about our environment, about the coastal restoration, and you know, actually have the ability now to do something about it and engage the government in it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for St. Bernard EcoTourism, the Parish Marina. Congratulations. And in fact, congratulations to all three of the finalists for this incredible event. Just applaud at home, applaud here if you want for all three. Once again, nice plants, good pots, glass half full, and St. Bernard EcoTourism. Right now, the judges will retreat, and we'll bring out the judges with their incredibly hard decision.
This was a super hard decision. This was a very, very difficult decision, and I think all of these judges, and these are people that I just met, extraordinary, extraordinary people, really struggled with this. And we didn't know until the end that a lot of times previous groups say, can we just split the award? Like, we didn't even realize that's not an option. So they wouldn't let us do that. But we definitely saw an enormous amount of really great things from all three of the companies. We saw just an incredible commitment to the community. We saw vision. We saw, you know, some really incredible ability to picture a future for this community that really would move it into the future. And that's fabulous. The award is going, for the judges, we agreed that glass half full was the recipient that we would choose for this award. And that's because if you guys can make this work, it's an impact that will be huge for St. Bernard. It'll be huge for the country. I want to see this happening at a much broader level. And so if St. Bernard is a stepping stone and a way for that impact to happen nationwide, that's going to be an amazing thing for St. Bernard to point to and say, we helped make that transformation happen. And so to all of you, congratulations. You're going to be fantastic. I'm proud.
Let's hear from the winners, ladies and gentlemen. Glass half full. And remember, all of you guys, all of these entrepreneurs are winners today. I see all of your businesses flourishing in the future, and I hope it all starts here today. Well, What are you guys feeling? Don't cry up on me. No. What are you feeling right now?
We didn't prepare a winning speech because we honestly didn't expect it with the competition that we were up against. And we're just so grateful and excited to see what we do with recycling in this parish.
Thank you all so much. We have such deep gratitude for all the other participants, all the judges, everyone who watched, and for this community. You know, as Fran mentioned in our pitch, we started this in a backyard with just an idea and wanted to do something for our community, and that community responded time and time again, and once again, the community is making it happen. So thank you all so much.
Those are real emotions and real tears. If we could bring up the big check. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking part in this, the 7th annual Startup St. Bernard. Thank you for spending your afternoon watching these incredible businesses. And thank all of you for being part of the future of St. Bernard Parish.